When awareness meets breath, something in the breath is transformed. Something not otherwise available through the breath becomes available. So when we say, be with the breath, we mean, as much as possible, be aware of each breath. Thoughts may come and go. Keep returning to awareness. And the breath is something tangible. It anchors awareness. And we take from the breath finer substances that the soul needs. We've done this practice for a long time, those of you who have been with us for a long time. And those of you who are new, welcome. But appreciate what we have. Some deceptively simple practices actually are miraculous if they could be practiced, if we could value them, and if we could develop the capacity to be aware with each breath. Something new is born in us. And we'll be sharing some further practices that you've never experienced till this weekend, with breath and color and the body. And I really look forward to sharing this with all of you. And I also just want to welcome everyone here and wish that you be at ease and at home. Many old friends we're delighted to see and be together again. So our hearts greet each other. And those of you who are new here, we're honored and delighted that you've chosen to be here. We look forward to getting to know you a little bit. And we hope that you will find some value in this time together, and some knowledge, and maybe something to practice. And maybe some beauty. You know, the theme for this weekend is balance. People I've already spoken to, we're very quickly working with this idea of balance. In a way, we don't really need to explain anything, because every one of you can ask for yourself, you know what balance is. What balance is for yourself. You know when you're unbalanced. Maybe you don't know it as well as you could. We don't know either our imbalances or our balance as we might. And that will also be part of our learning this weekend. But you intuitively know that there is such a thing as balance, and in every sphere of life. So each of us may find ways of applying this idea, even as we explore it with each other. And I'll invite some friends to share their reflections on balance. So we'll look at it from different perspectives. And one of the first perspectives comes from our peer, Hazrati Mevlana. And I discovered a prayer for balance. in the Mesnavi, there are many, many prayers that just pop up. And in a conversation with Umer in Turkey, we got the idea that we would just go through the Mesnavi and take out the prayers that are there and maybe do something with them. I thought, wouldn't that be marvelous just to extract? I don't know that anybody's ever looked at it that way, and not that I know all of the studies that are available, but I thought, wouldn't that be interesting? Because the beauty of a wali like Mevlana, or any saint or prophet, is that maybe their greatest teaching for us is how to pray. So Mevlana says, O giver of nourishment, steadfastness, and stability, give your creatures deliverance from this instability, imbalance, balance. Give to the soul, for it is bent, the support to stand upright in the work in which it ought to be stable. Bestow patience upon them, and may their deeds weigh favorably in the balance scales. Deliver them from the deceptions of the fraudulent, and redeem them, O generous one, from the curse of envy, lest they become damnable trolls. Now, I updated this a little bit, but the Farsi for, because I'm thinking, deliver us from the deceptions of the fraudulent media, and redeem us, O generous one, from the curse of envy, lest we become damnable trolls. Well, actually, the Farsi says something like, the word for trolls is deva, which is, we could say demons, or nasty jinn, and rajim, deva rajim, the accursed, the stoned trolls, and demons, and devas. So deliver us from all of that, which is what envy produces. I'm trying to bring this into our present time. Mevlana's time was not so different from ours, and what the challenges he faced, the distractions that a human being would face. Well, he didn't have to deal with Instagram or TikTok, but there was some equivalent of that, I'm sure. So again, let's listen to it again. O giver of nourishment, O nourisher, and steadfastness and stability. Is this not balance we're talking about? And give your creatures deliverance from this instability. Isn't that what we all pray for? I mean, wouldn't this be a good prayer for us? And give to the soul. And he says, because it's bent. Your soul is bent. Give it the support to stand upright in its work, and the work in which it ought to be stable. Can you apply this to your life? And bestow patience upon them, and may their deeds weigh favorably in the balance scales. Now we're getting to another kind of balance, because one of the primary meanings of balance in the Quran is al-mizan, and the way the Quran talks about balance explicitly is in how will our deeds be weighed at the end of life? Will the good weigh heavier than the negative? So we pray that our deeds will weigh favorably in the balance scales. So deliver us from the deceptions of all fraudulence, all fakery, all lies. And redeem us, O generous one, from the curse of envy. So that we don't become Deva Rajim. Rumi's prayer for balance. In making up a graphic for this retreat, I chose the image of a semizen because the semizen has to be vertical, and to be vertical requires extraordinary balance when you're whirling. Another sense of balance. We all wish to be upright, and also the idea of uprightness and righteousness. Uprightness and righteousness are related. To be right is to be, not to fall. And who wants to fall? But if you fall, you get up. You want to get up. Help us to stand upright in the work in which we ought to be stable. Well, that's an exhortation. That's a strong wish for ourselves and for each other amid all of the challenges of everyday life. And we know that another essential aspect of balance is the balance between the outer world and our inner life, between our involvement in the dunya with its distractions and its responsibilities and its desires and its fears and all of that stuff, and what we are working with in spirituality is to have something within our souls that's capable of balancing the challenges we face in our everyday life, so that we're not swept away, so that we don't fall. There are little falls and there are big falls. So this weekend, our practice, inshallah, will strengthen us in that ability to keep the balance by awakening something inside ourselves that is capable of balancing what life demands of us. But to balance this strong advice this challenging advice. This is the Jalal part of it. I want to give you the Jamal part too, right? Another aspect of balance, Jalal and Jamal. Jalal, power, astringency, force. And Jamal, gentleness, beauty. And we know that Mevlana is so much Jamal. You know what Shamsi Tabriz said? He said, they call me a saint, but if I were to agree, it would be very ugly, because I don't have the qualities, that the holy books describe that a saint should have. But Mevlana, he has those qualities. So he has that beautiful Jamal, the Jamal of the saint. And he said of himself, I have some Jamal, but I have more Jalal. But my Jalal is more beautiful than my Jamal. So let's not think that balance is just some kind of neutral, like easy state. It's not moderation. Moderation may not be the answer always. Sometimes it is. But sometimes Jalal is needed. And we have in our tradition this extraordinary meeting of Jalal and Jamal. That's what it was all about. And even Mevlana's Jamal would not have been so Jamal if it wasn't for Shams's Jalal. Right? Sometimes our teachers need to express unconditional Jamal. We love you always. And because we love you always, we can also correct you. But only with love. Only if there's love. I've learned that. I've tried to learn that. So now, for the Jamal side of the story, again, the first part was from Book 1 of the Mesnavi. This is from Book 4. It's a little bit further up the scale in a way. And it's related to the story of the people of Saba, who were like people who were like us, decadent, heedless. A society like ours. But he's saying, now let's tell the story of Saba in a lover's style. When the breath of spring came towards the tulip field, the creatures experienced the day of their reunion. The children turned again in the direction of home. Among all communities, this community of secret love is a place of ease. Listen, friends. This community of secret love is a place of ease, surrounded by the meanness of religious and other extremisms. The body can bring the soul low. The nobility of bodies is derived from soul. Again, a hint about balance. O lovers, this draft of love is given to you. You are the everlasting, everlasting. This is bestowed on you. Have you forgotten? Arise and love. This is the fragrance of Joseph upon the breeze. Catch it. Come, like Solomon who mastered the language of the birds, sing the song of every bird that comes to you. Since God has sent you to the birds, He has instructed you in the notes of their particular songs. So I love this. He's talking, I think, about the community of lovers, of Sufis. This is the merciful side, the beautiful side. It reminds me of a beautiful section in Ibn Abbad of Randa where he's telling a distraught student of his that, the way of Muhammad is a way of such liberality. Few people understand this. And he tells his student who is so despondent after beginning to see his own weaknesses, his own faults, upon coming into the Sufi path of beginning to awaken. And the first thing happens when somebody goes from the heavy sleep state and heedlessness and they begin to wake up. At first it's pretty scary because you see how asleep you've been. You begin to see your faults as you haven't seen them before. And so this Murid had been really despondent and wrote to his sheikh, and the sheikh said, this community of Muhammad is so liberal. He said, my son, don't worry. Keep Allah as your companion in every state. That's all you have to do. This is a gift given to the community of Muhammad. What kind of psychology is this? We sent you only as a mercy, as the Quran tells us. Yes, so Mevlana jumps around a lot. There are a lot of things going on in here, and it ends with him saying, you've been sent. Whoever he's addressing here, it's out of context. I know you don't need to know the whole context right now, but he's saying, the fragrance of Joseph is upon the breeze. When Jacob, Joseph's father, caught the fragrance of his beloved son Joseph on the breeze. That was love. That was hope. And Joseph is beauty. And Joseph is the beautiful human being. And so Mevlana is also saying, you, every one of you, you could be like Solomon, who was taught the language of birds, so that you could sing the song of every bird. You can speak to every bird and be understood. So any bird that comes to you, O Solomon, sing their particular song and remind them. Remind them of the beauty of Allah. Remind them of the beauty of this generosity. Balance all the hardships of this world, all the pain of this world, with that beauty. You won't escape the pain, but everything will be more beautiful. You begin to live in continual poignancy. Can you bear it? Or do you want to go numb, go blind? You could. It's the easy way, in a sense. So we have this call to stand upright with courage in times that may require great courage. And we also have this awareness that the breath of spring has come and the tulip field has been revived by it. And the children have turned to go back home. And among all the communities, this is the community of secret love. A place of ease, while surrounded by the meanness of extremism. What if you're between two extremes and neither is right? Well, I want to share a little bit about this way of ours, this approach of within what we call the Threshold Society, which is one manifestation of Sufism, particularly the Sufism sourced in Mevlana Jalaluddin. And what it is we're doing, you could call what we're doing here a phenomenology of consciousness, a phenomenology of the soul. And what I mean by phenomenology is that we're not talking about religious belief. We're talking about a focus on human experience and to know our own human experience, to understand it and to understand its possibilities, and particularly to understand the possibilities of levels of consciousness. You know, people sometimes ask in interviews, etc., about the relationship of Sufism and Islam. The simplest answer that I have is that these are different states of consciousness. I'm talking about conventional, orthodox, mainstream Islam as it's generally practiced. And I don't mean to be critical, but descriptive. That Sufism is Islam at another level of consciousness. At one level of consciousness, you have a bunch of flashcards. You've got a flashcard for everything, you know, and you argue about them. They're your beliefs. Without understanding, there's a flashcard for everything. There's a right answer for everything. There's a right thing to do in every situation because you've got the flashcards. And somebody gave you the whole deck. Okay? And then, at another level of consciousness, you begin to recognize that this is kind of a game. Maybe that's kind. But that at another level of consciousness, you have some perspective. And you see the difference between mere beliefs and experience. And you begin to have moments in which the things that are written in the Quran, one day, if you're lucky, you have an experience of what those words mean. And there's no end to this, to the depth of this, from a true revelation. That's the remarkable thing. I see some of you nodding your heads. You know what I'm talking about. So, at that other level of consciousness, it's not about beliefs. You have an experience. You have an experience of the reality of the divine. You have the experience, and you know the difference between when you say Salam Alaikum and it means nothing. It's just something to repeat. Salam Alaikum. Salam Alaikum. Or even Alhamdulillah. You begin to realize that it's possible to connect that word with a reality inside yourself. Recently, a group of us in the Mysterian School had as homework, the simplest homework imaginable. I said, okay, for a month, just remember to say Alhamdulillah. And one of our sisters said recently, Dede, that practice was amazing. And this was somebody already well-traveled on the path, already mature in her spirituality. But to awaken a different kind of understanding and consciousness, which also has to do, and here we're getting into the phenomenology of the soul, the phenomenology of consciousness, and the phenomenology of the human being. When we understand that we are beings that have a physical dimension, an emotional dimension, a mental dimension, and a spiritual dimension. We have more than that, but we'll stop, keep it simple. You could say we have a physical brain, an emotional brain, a thinking brain, and a spiritual or soul brain. And we begin to see that there's a way to bring all these things together, and they're not usually one. More often, we're in one part or another part, but rarely are we in a state where all of these things line up. Where our thought, and therefore our words, line up with our hearts, and also line up with our sense of physical embodiment. That's a very different state for a human being. A state, actually, is it a common state or not? Is that how we are most of the time, some of the time, or rarely at all? Take your salat. the beauty of this practice, if it's done as it is meant to be done, is that it is such a perfect exercise for bringing all these bodies into alignment. Stand upright in the work. Have that stability. Because you're bent. No, up. Stand up. Stand up. Bring into alignment your physical body. Aware of your posture. Aware that you are a human being in a body. No, you are a soul in a body. And your heart is there in humility before the infinite. And your intellectual center is reciting Ikra bismi rabbika alladhi halakal insana min alaq Ikra wa rabbakal akram alladhi elama bil kalam elama insana ma lam ya'lam. The first revelation to Muhammad. Recite in the name of your Lord, and so on. Who taught the human being? Taught the human being what it did not know. So that alignment is what allows us to be taught, to be human, to be whole. See, this is what I mean by a phenomenology of the soul. Now, in the world of spirituality and religion and human development, we have different roles, and I just want to name these roles, these functions as an example, so that we could see a little more clearly what we have here in Threshold and what we're concerned with. On one level, and this holds true across religions and systems of human development, though not all systems of human development have all the levels I'm going to talk about. But the first level, let's call it the moralist. The moralist is going to tell you right and wrong. In some religious situations, they're going to offer you the rewards of heaven and remind you of the punishments of hell. And this is what the moralists do. And some of them are brilliant. I mean, there's a range of qualities among the moralists. You know, they're brilliant moralists and not so brilliant moralists. Okay? But that's one category. Another category is the scholar. And the scholar collects knowledge, usually in words and from books, possibly other sources. So the scholars have a function. They collect knowledge and they make it available to people. And again, there are some that are very good at this, some not so good, some mediocre, some downright warped. But they're scholars, another category of human endeavor, human work. We honor these scholars. We're grateful that they're collecting the knowledge, the information, and making it available to us. Then there's another category which is the category of I don't have easy names or absolutely clear names for this category, but we could say the coach, the sheikh, the muqaddam, somebody who's beginning to work at the qualitative level of human development in a different way than the moralists or the scholars. Not completely different, but it's more experiential, shall we say. It's more hands-on, it's more relational. They're working with people. The muqaddam may be applying techniques and teachings from a spiritual lineage and applying them to a situation to people so that they can begin a shift of consciousness, very likely. It's the beginning of that movement from sleep. I mean, a scholar can be completely asleep. A moralist can be completely asleep. But the muqaddam, he can also be asleep, but at least he is bringing the technology of awakening. And he or she is probably a little bit awake now and then, hopefully. And we're grateful for such people in this world. We need more of them. And then we go one category further to what we could call the murshid. And the murshid is the one who is guiding from that awakened state, from that higher state of consciousness. And the murshid is keeping a tradition alive. A murshid may possibly be creating a community, possibly even a tradition, because the murshid is functioning at that level of consciousness where the divine presence meets human presence. More often than not, and more often than the other levels. So this is just a description to make us aware of these differences and perhaps to have some appreciation of what we're trying to do. And to also understand that we are hopefully working with objective aspects of the human psyche, the human soul. We are working with the equipment we human beings have to understand that equipment better. And if we understand that equipment, we can, and that's marifat. That's the meaning of marifat, gnosis. If we understand the objective process, then it can be expressed in different languages, in different religious contexts, even possibly in non-religious contexts, sort of. But always with a recognition that there's something greater than the individual human ego. So we are blessed to be in a context, in a tradition, our widest, shall we say, context that can be described in words is the revelation of the Holy Quran. We are grateful for this, and we're grateful to have discovered it, because it describes very well the objective realities of the human situation. Some people who have come to Sufism and the Quran and to this level of Islam weren't really looking for a religion. They might have walked away from religion. They might have gone through a period of having no religion, maybe even having no God. But then they came to an understanding that there is a language that describes a reality, and have begun to experience that reality. And then they could only be incredibly grateful that there's also a language that conveys it beautifully. And likewise with Rumi, how grateful we are that he takes this subjective knowledge. He is the murshid. He is the one who is living at that level of reality, and so that he could spin all of these stories and metaphors and images that would make the reality of that reality, to make that reality more real through beautiful language, unforgettable stories and images that then go to form and shape our subconscious mind, meaning our psyche, our whole psyche. And the psyche becomes more capable of the apprehension, the understanding of this wider reality. This is why we are where we are on the Sufi path, on the path of Islamic Sufism, without demanding that anybody believe anything or convert to something. You see its reality, you see its truth, you're grateful for it. If you find that truth somewhere else, you're grateful for that too. And you know, to come back to camel stories, we were talking about camels at dinner tonight. Does anybody know a beautiful hadith about camels? Do you know which one I'm thinking of? Prophet Muhammad, may he be blessed, said, "Truth is the believer's lost camel." Do you ever hear that one? And most people have not heard this hadith. Truth is the believer's lost camel. What does this mean? If you ever owned a camel and lost it, and you were looking for it everywhere, and you went through herds of camels, all kinds of camels, and that's not my camel. No, that's not my camel either. And one day you see your camel, you say, "That's my camel." Meaning, you recognize truth wherever you find it. It's yours. That truth belongs to you if you recognize it. It's your camel. So I just wanted to give this sort of panoramic view of what we're trying to do here. And during the course of this weekend, I'd like it to be and have quite a bit of experience, nonverbal experience, music, whirling, zhikr, silence, inner work, heart awareness. Again, just to live from the heart would be enough. But to live from the heart may also require knowledge. It might also require abilities of awareness and consciousness that we have not yet adequately developed. Because as human beings, we have a tendency to default to the, what did I call them? The cards. Flashcards.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman-Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata allazina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. La ilaha illallah. God answers all calls made in sincerity and truth. Bismillah, Ya Allah. Allah Bismillah, Yahu.